All right, guys, welcome back to the middle of nowhere. We're here for my June wrap up. All right, so I read a few books in the month of June, went on vacation, was able to finish a few books. So we're going to talk about what I read. I'm going to try to keep my thoughts on each one short, as it can kind of ramble and go on. And I don't want that. I want to make it quick, short, concise, so you guys don't have to hang out too long in the middle of nowhere, get lost, and then have to build your own home. This is my area. I'm just kidding. You guys are always welcome in the middle of nowhere. But let's get to it. We're going to start with the ones that I can't hold up physically, like this. I'm also going to insert my YouTube Yabber Jabber. Please like and subscribe, comment down below, see the description box for how to get a hold of me, see what I like, everything that way. Enough said. Here are my digital reads. So we're going to start it off with the buddy read that I always have every month. With a group of friends. This month we chose His Ragged Company by Rance D. Denton. It is a fantasy western, and there were things that I really liked about it. I really liked the western aspect of it. I liked the main character, but overall the story was a little weird. It had some twists and turns, and the way that the story was being told at the first half of the book was really interesting, and then it kind of swapped halfway through, which kind of jarred me. So I did enjoy a lot of the parts of the book, but there were some things that I just didn't really care for the book at all. Overall, I gave it 3 stars. An enjoyable read if you like fantasy westerns with a real twist or like bizarre magic and thought process. This one could be for you. Next up in the digital formats that we have, I read The Kaiju Preservation Society by John Scalzi. So I've never read any books by John Scalzi before. This was my first one. I really got caught by the blurb when I was in Barnes & Noble one time and picked it up on Audible sale just for something to read, like kind of as a filler. And it's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the book, the thought process and things. The climax kind of left me hanging, kind of let me down a little bit. And overall, it was okay. I was a little bit underwhelmed, but still enjoyed the read. I gave it 3 stars overall. Next up, we have The Crystal Gunslinger by Oliver Laws. So this was a review copy provided by the author. He asked me to read and review it. I decided to keep going with the fantasy western theme, but this one was very enjoyable. It has a really cool world with the different kind of gems and crystals and that type of thing, and how it infects people and animals and the land itself. And it definitely built up, and I'm really eager to see where this series will go. He definitely set the tone for something that could be really, really good. Overall, I gave it 4 stars. You can read my full review on Goodreads. I also read book 1 in the Cycle of Iran trilogy. I did this in audio because I could get all 3 books in for 1 credit. And I read The White Tree, or listened to The White Tree while I was driving to California. And this is by Edward W. Robertson. And biggest thing about this one was very underwhelming. Like, there was nothing bad about the book, but there was nothing that really stood out. I was just kind of bored. It's just your typical quest, like very just your typical fantasy story. Nothing really stood out. He finds this hidden magic of the death god, and learns how to use it, and kind of goes and is assigned to go kill a person. That's pretty much it. As you can tell, I wasn't super excited about it. Wasn't really pulled into the story a whole lot. Overall, I gave it 2.5. So that concludes my digital reads that I can't hold up. Now you get to see the books, the stack of books that I have. I've had this one on my radar for a while. I did back the Year of Sanderson Kickstarter, but I only did the ebooks, mainly because I was saving up for something else. But I was gifted a copy of the physical format, just because my family knows how much I enjoy a lot of his books. And so I got the Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England. And it was a fun book. I really enjoyed it. The humor didn't turn me off as much as others, but it wasn't as deep of a story as I was expecting. And so it was an okay Sanderson. Definitely a different take. Great filler and palate cleanser is what I would say. It does have some moments of humor. Sometimes you just kind of shake your head if it doesn't hit you the correct way. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. I gave it 3.5. Definitely don't regret reading it. Next up, we have The Flames of Mira by Clay Harmon. So this one's very, very interesting as it all takes place underground. They have one character is able to bend the magma around himself and focuses on his interaction in the family and some of the politics going on down there. Really, really interesting. Eager to see where it goes. I did the audio of it, which was fantastic as well. If you haven't checked it, want kind of a dark fantasy that's brutal and pulls no punches, Flames of Mira is going to be right up your alley. Just as a small caveat here, if you want more thoughts on each of these books, please feel free to reach out to me. I hate making like half-hour long videos. Like, I could talk about these books forever and my thoughts on them, but I am trying to keep it a little bit shorter for you as a viewer, and I tend to keep my reviews pretty short. I also did this month Jade City by Fonda Lee. So I know many people have told me to read it, that I'd enjoy it, and that was exactly true. I definitely liked the kind of gang family aspect of it with an incredible magic system. I am kicking myself that I've waited this long to read it, but the positive note is the whole trilogy's done, so I can continue reading this, and I will probably wrap it up this year, as I really, really enjoyed book 1. Overall, I gave it 5 stars, and yes, it has emotional stuff in there, but at the same time, I'm not a very emotional reader. But yes, I will say that I did love the characters and got pulled into them and love that family dynamic, and eager to see where it goes as the series continues. I really let my mood read, I just kind of picked books at random. I didn't keep entirely to the TBR that I put out. So I slotted in Master of Sorrows by Justin T. Call. This one's very good, kind of in a school of how a kid becomes the Dark Lord. Has some great twist turns. You can see the seeds of him becoming the Dark Lord beginning to be planted, as things don't always go according to plan. He's kind of an outcast and has some things I want to talk about would spoil the book, if you know what I mean. So I'm not going to do that. Love the cover though, and the story inside is just as good. We'll leave it at that. Yeah, pacing's a little bit slower, but overall it's a really great story and very easy to read. Also during this month, I did keep to this part of the plan. I did pick up Darkblade Assassin again and finished and read it, as I didn't have any interruptions. Really, really, really great assassin story. It's brutal, and he doesn't hold back on his slaughtering of people. And the reason why he does that is, and it's very well explained about why he does kill as many people as he does. That being said, assassins tend to be more secretive for me. I like when they're involved and you don't know who they are and they're just trying to kill one person. This one, he goes all out, which, not saying I didn't enjoy it. Definitely enjoyed the story. Definitely going to be continuing the series, see where else it goes, because it planted enough seeds. But it was more just about this expert killer killing everything versus a true assassin story where they're hired to kill someone or have an idea of why they need to kill. This next book I've already talked about in my announcement video of where we were talking about the Bone Ships read-along that will be starting next month, in the month of August. But I also read Gods of the Wordwood by R.J. Barker. I gave a lot of my thoughts in the previous book, but this one's incredible, especially if you start piecing all together and reflect on the little bits that he puts at the beginning as you get to the end. This one will definitely be on my reread pile. When book 2 comes out, I'll probably reread book 1. Highly recommend this author. He has become one of my instant buys, and I can't wait for book 2. Yeah. Come join us in the read-along of R.J. Barker, and we will read a complete trilogy, and then you can pick this one up, and hopefully book 2 will come out by the time you finish reading this one. Also got my thriller in for the month of One Rough Man by Brad Taylor. So I've been looking for a series that kind of has that spy or like secret group type thing, like the top-notch mercenary type thing. And this one definitely hit the ground running. Has an emotional impact, but it made a lot more sense. And it didn't have the annoying thing that I found in a lot of thrillers of the head hopping between paragraphs. So you still get to see from the protagonist's point of view, but it's not as they're being killed or something like that. That kind of annoys me. It was really well done, very believable plot, and I will be continuing with this author, see what else he has in store. Pretty small book, so it reads really quick, and definitely enjoyed this one quite a bit. I did give it 4.5 stars. I really liked the main character for the most part, and the emotional damage that happened to him as a character really kind of stuck with me, and I want to see where it goes with him, because it became a very central part of the book, and it was written extremely well. Now it is time for the book of the month. And to no one's surprise, if you watched the Bone Ships read-along announcement video, I kind of gave the teaser. It is book 2 of the Wounded Kingdom trilogy, Blood of Assassins. Girton returns in a different format. He's at the end of book 1, a lot of what he believed in was kind of shaken, but this is a few years down the road, and he's returning to see his friend, who is now the king, and the political turmoil that they are involved in, and especially as he kind of transitions from assassin into mercenary, back into assassin, and the consequences of his actions as they go along definitely build up for what book 3 could become, and the climax is fantastic. I did buddy read this with Esme. We were both kind of just amazed with the writing that R.J. Barker did in this novel. I cannot gush about his books enough. As I am immediately drawn in, I get attached to the characters. The worlds are so creative and different. They're just so much fun to read. But this is my book of the month. I will be finishing the trilogy and see if he can go 3 for 3 of May, June, July as the books of the month. But highly recommend Highly recommend the Wounded Kingdom trilogy. I know everybody talks about his Bone Ships trilogy, which we will be reading, but this one is definitely underrated, especially if you like assassins and political stuff. It's in there, but it's a much personal tale. It is told in first person of an assassin with a club foot, and like I said, you see the consequences of the actions that he does and how it affects him as the character. All right, so that is all the books I read in the month of June, which I think is 11 or 12. I may have missed one. I don't know. Sometimes I can't keep track. If you can keep track of the books I read, I'd appreciate it if you could let me know. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. As always, I'm very happy when you guys comment to me, talk to me about books. If you want to know more of my thoughts or in-depth thoughts, sometimes when I have that big of a stack of books, I could spend like 5 minutes per book. And I don't want to do that to you guys. Hopefully I've given you enough of a taste. If not, tell me down below. Reach out to me on the Page Turners Discord or DM, as well as at George Buxton on Twitter. Like I said, down in the description box, you can see how to get a hold of me. I am more than willing to talk about books with you guys. Just reach out. Until next time, guys, happy reading and stay great.